Let's get right into it, because I've got something to tell you. Your brain is running a scam on you, a really, really clever one. It's basically hardwired to stop you from doing anything that feels difficult or uncomfortable. But today, we're going to learn how to see right through that scam. We're going to learn how to actually get our brains on our side.
Sound familiar? Of course it does. We've all done this. You've got that big, important thing you need to do, and your brain just whispers this perfectly reasonable little lie. Just 5 more minutes. It sounds so harmless, right? What's 5 minutes?
And boom, next thing you know, it's 2 a.m. That 5 minutes somehow turned into 3 hours of you deep diving into the most random stuff imaginable. Why do pigeons bob their heads anyway? Meanwhile, that important task hasn't even been touched. It's a feeling we all know, but what is actually going on here?
Okay, this is the most important thing to get. You are not procrastinating because you're lazy. I'm going to say that again. It's not about laziness. It's because your brain is an ancient survival machine. It's literally just doing its job, and its job is to avoid discomfort and anything that remotely smells like a threat.
And here's the fundamental mismatch, right? Your brain's operating system was designed for a world with lions and starvation. Its main goals are comfort and safety. But your goals, they're things like writing that essay or building that business. To your ancient brain, that big, unfamiliar project looks like a lion. So of course, its first instinct is to steer you back to the safety of, say, watching pigeon videos.
There's actually a name for this feeling. From Buddhism, it's called the monkey mind. It's that restless, jumpy brain that just can't settle down. It swings from one thought branch to the next, doing absolutely anything to avoid sitting with the discomfort of a hard task. That's the monkey mind at work.
So how in the world do you tame this monkey mind? Well, the secret isn't to get in a cage match with it. You'll lose. The answer is to use a much smarter ancient strategy called the Lotus Method. Think of it as a blueprint for working with your brain's wiring instead of fighting against it.
So here's the plan. We've got 5 steps, and each one builds on the last. We're going to learn how to catch the scam, how to flow around resistance, how to sharpen our focus, how to act with purpose, and finally, how to trust the process. All right, let's jump into the first 2 steps. These are the foundation for everything else. This is where we learn to see the trap for what it is and then, cleverly dance around it.
Step 1 is all about awareness. That's it. It's about catching your brain in the act. You have to learn to notice that moment when your brain starts suggesting you do literally anything else other than the hard task. You're just shining a spotlight on the trick.
And here's the magic phrase. This is your secret weapon. The second you catch yourself saying, "Oh, I'll just check my email real quick," you just pause and say this to yourself in your head. "Nice try, brain. I see you." You're calling it out.
And this isn't just some neat mental trick. There's real science here. The moment you name the avoidance, you actually activate your prefrontal cortex. That's the logical CEO part of your brain. It pulls power away from the emotional, panicked part that just wants to run. Without this step, you're basically playing chess against a master and you're blindfolded.
Okay, so you've spotted the scam. Now your first instinct is probably to just force yourself to do the work, to use willpower. But that's like trying to punch your way through a river. The Lotus Method says, nope, don't fight it. Flow with it.
So how do you flow? First, you reframe it. The thought, "I have to finish this huge project," is terrifying. But I'll just work on it for 10 minutes? That's easy. Or you find a gateway task that is so simple it feels silly not to do it. Like just putting on your running shoes. That's it. This works because these tiny tasks are too small to trigger your brain's threat alarm. And once you start, you get a little hit of dopamine, which makes you want to keep going.
So, we've caught the brain's trick, and we've gently started moving. Now what? Steps 3 and 4 are all about creating the right environment inside your head for deep, effective work. I want you to imagine trying to cut through a log with a chainsaw that's shaking like crazy. You can't, right? The blade is useless. Well, that's your mind when it's overloaded with notifications and a million thoughts. Stillness is how we stop the shaking so the blade can actually do its job.
There's this wonderful saying that really gets to the heart of it. The goal isn't to force your mind to be empty. That's impossible. The goal is to just sit there and let all the mental mud you've been kicking up just settle. When the mud settles, the water becomes clear.
And this is so simple to do. 5, maybe 10 minutes a day. No phone, no music, just sit. Just breathe. It'll feel weird at first, but what's happening is you're lowering your stress hormones and boosting the brainwaves linked to creativity. A calm brain doesn't see a hard task as a threat. It sees it as an interesting puzzle to solve.
Now that the mind is calm, the blade is sharp. It's time to cut. But we're not going to just swing wildly. Think about a Shaolin monk. They don't learn 100 moves at once. They practice one single punch, over and over, until it's perfect. That's what we're doing here.
So you pick one thing, the most important thing, and you give it your full, undivided attention. No switching tabs, no quick phone checks. Your brain only has so much focus to give, and every time you switch tasks, you burn a little bit of it. But when you single task, when you go deep, 2 hours of that kind of focus can feel more productive than 6 hours of scattered work. It's like a superpower.
And that brings us to the final step. And honestly, this might be the hardest one of all, especially today. It's the ingredient that makes everything else work. We're talking about patience. There's a reason this is called the Lotus Method. A lotus flower doesn't just pop up overnight. It has to push its way slowly through a whole lot of mud and murky water before it ever reaches the sunlight and blooms. Your work on hard things, it's the exact same journey. See, patience isn't just sitting around waiting. It's a strategy. Real progress works like compound interest. It feels like nothing is happening for ages, and then, all of a sudden, everything changes. By being patient, you avoid burning out, and you stick with it long enough for the new habits to actually take hold. Just trust the bloom. So let's put it all together. Here's your cheat sheet. 1. Catch the scam. 2. Flow with it, don't fight it. Start ridiculously small. 3. Find some stillness every single day. 4. Focus on one perfect slice. And 5. Be patient and trust the bloom. When you do this, hard things stop being a source of pain and start becoming proof that you're growing.
Look, your brain is always going to put up a bit of a fight at first. But with this method, you can start getting it to work for you instead of against you. So let's make it real, right now. What is the one hard thing you're going to use this on today?